get off the f***ing save and take a f***ing bail!
Right, so this will probably be a longer one than usual because, putting it simply, I've got a lot to say. Now, hopefully the way I've done it, it's either been uploaded alongside the second 7 Days to Die compilation, or of course around about that time, because I've got a lot to talk about that game in particular. But before I get too much into detail about that game, I want to quickly recap on a couple of things. Now, when it comes to any video on the channel, it's always part of a playlist. Every single video you watch, if you want to see more videos like that, there's always a link in the description. These Message From Me To You videos are no different. They all have a link to the entire playlist of every Message From Me To You video that I've done. Now, the reason why I mention this is, of course, there are things I have mentioned in previous videos like this, and I've kind of tried to not repeat myself. However, there are certain things that I'm aware of that individuals aren't aware of. So, I don't know, the way I tend to do things with these videos, like how I used to do it, how I would like to do it, and of course how I'm currently doing it. So, I have mentioned in the past that there are two main types of uploads. You've got daily and you've got random. And random videos are like these videos where they typically are uploaded alongside a daily video. And as for the dailies, well, the clue's in the title. Now here's the thing, we're talking there was a time where I would focus on a daily, and then after making a daily I would spend whatever free time I've got left working on another video. I might end up giving myself a head start on the following day's daily video, or I might work on something else. So of course we're talking the banners that I've used for the YouTube channel, of course I'd work on that. The intros, making them, basically other stuff relative to the channel. And there was even a point where I even uploaded the odd Minecraft video. So I'd spend 2 hours or so building something, I'd speed it up and then have it uploaded alongside something. Now as you know, as I've basically ranted on about many times, in between working on dailies I've been working on Telltales. And we're currently, Season 1 is currently on the channel, and at this moment in time I am working on Season 2. And in the last Message From Me To You video, I did state that I wanted to put more time into working on Telltales, try and get Season 2 and 3 out, but I couldn't because Stranger's Wrath was basically being problematic to edit, to put it simply. Now the good news is, now that I've actually, put aside, now that I've finally finished Stranger's Wrath, I've been able to put more time into Telltales, and I'm happy to say that I've made a lot more progress. But here's the thing, when it comes to certain games, I might as well explain it. We're talking the typical recording session, as I've mentioned many times, is I tend to record 5 episodes. So I will record say 15 minutes and I'll go, yep, that's an episode, put it to one side, ready for editing. But sometimes what will happen is I'll get to a certain point, and let's just say, let's just say hypothetically on Stranger's Wrath, where I reached a certain point and I died. So I've obviously loaded from last checkpoints. I don't like to show something I've already shown before unless something else interesting happens. So of course I've got to take in consideration, say, a minute needs to get cut, so I'll record for additional minutes. Essentially what I'm trying to do is squeeze in as much content within 15 minutes. But when it comes to some games it becomes a lot more difficult to do that. And I might as well give you an example. When I was finished editing Season 1 of Telltale's The Walking Dead, I did say in an earlier Message From Me To You video that I was going to have a break from it and I wanted to focus on other things. Obviously plans changed because people were eager to see more. But I might as well use the example Mortal Shell put it simply, I actually recorded maybe about 2 hours worth of footage for that. And I thought, here's the idea. instead of recording 15 minutes or call it 20 minutes and going, yep, that's an episode, doing whatever to make the contents, I thought I'd record for about 2 hours, knowing that a lot's going to get cut and accepting the losses of, like, again, if it's 2 hours, I might only have 10 minutes worth of content. If that's the case, it is what it is, but I can do that in between working on the daily uploads. Now, when it comes to games like 7 Days to Die, if I played the game the way it's meant to be played, that's basically the long and short of it. The same thing would happen where I would record for, say, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, knowing all too well a lot of that would need getting cut. Because let's face it, the reason why I've waited till now to say this is, as I mentioned before, I tend to record 5 episodes per recording session, and of course there were individuals who were commenting, giving me certain tips on, say, episode 6, 7 or 8, which, for example, making the stone axe, saying that's a lot better to use that. And in episode 10, that's what I did. So I didn't want to say I figured that out because I didn't want to spoil it. But of course, releasing this video now, we're all up to date, and all the tips that you've given me, I can now use those tips towards working on episode 11 onwards. But look at episode 10. With episode 10, I took time to gather materials, I took time to try and reinforce buildings, and we're talking overall time, call it maybe about 20 minutes of trying to build a base. And we're talking within seconds, it was just gone. We're talking, like, what was it with that dog? Like, I spent a bit of time reinforcing, gathering woods, and again, that took a bit of time, and then that dog came along, killed me, and then destroyed what little I built. So my idea was, instead of putting time into building and whatnot, why not scavenge, just only focus on what I find? And I have mentioned that throughout the playthrough that was my tactic. I didn't want to focus on building. And what was it? I did arguably state how episode 0.5 is proof that if I do take the time to build a base, I can do quite well. But the aim of the playthrough wasn't to do that. Now, let's face it, with this idea of just scavenging, somehow episode 1 through to 5 did turn out alright. Episode 6, 7 and 8 kind of worked, but by episode 9 it was blatantly obvious we needed to change. And episode 10, I was basically doing the one thing I didn't want to do because it took longer to record, it took longer to edit, and arguably less happens. So the bottom line is, the idea of scavenging is not going to work. The idea of building and then trying to make 15-minute episodes like that is not going to work. So what's the alternative? The alternative is, remember what I said before about Mortal Shell, which is recording for a long period of time and then taking that... You meowing at the door again?
NANI?!
Don't be yelling at me. I'm busy right now. I'm busy trying to do this recording, and you're just asking for attention, aren't you? Eh? You're just going to keep eyeballing me, are you? Just like the last one, Okay. Can I speak? Okay. So basically what I was getting at was, recapping what I said before, with Mortal Shell, I recorded about 2 hours worth, and then I would filter out stuff that's not worth showing and keep in what is worth showing. Now, I never got round to finishing that because I started working on Telltales. But the idea that I've got is, if I do record more 7 Days to Die, like the way I recorded Mortal Shell, then in theory I should be able to make better content when I'm actually playing the game the way it's meant to be played. But of course, it's not. It's going to be time consuming, but the best way I can put it is I'll be able to make better content, but I'll have to work on it in between daily videos. But here's the problem. As I also said, I stopped working on Mortal Shell because of Telltale, so unfortunately the same thing's going to happen with 7 Days to Die. If I'm going to want to make more content for 7 Days to Die, like the way I've just described, it's going to have to be after Telltales. And there's actually a really good reason as to why I want to do it that way. Put it simply, you have the sword making video that I done. I have stated in that video it took me over 100 days to make that sword. It took me over 100 days to make that sword, but during that video I do state what is sped up is 8 hours worth of footage. So you can do the maths. 100 days, 8 hours, how's that doable? Because back then I was working on the copper play button, I was working on the sword itself, I was working on Minecraft videos, I was working on the new banner, and I was also working on Telltales. The problem was I was focused on too many things at once. Can you just settle? Seriously. I was focusing on too many things. So whereas I do have full intentions of playing more 7 Days to Die, the problem is you're just going to have to wait a bit. I'm just asking you to be a bit patient because Telltales is arguably, not including dailies, it is arguably my main focus. I want to pack that in. I am wanting to get that out the way first. Now regarding switching over to PC, that was something else that people were wanting. They were wanting me to play the PC version of 7 Days to Die. Now here's the thing, I haven't got a problem with playing it on PC in the future, but I would like to explain why it's not going to happen anytime soon. I have addressed that I am not good at PC controls. I've spent my life being a console gamer, but I would like to learn to play PC controls. The reality is, there are more games on the PC. There's just, put it simply, there's just more advantages. There's just more advantages playing on the PC than it is on a console. But with saying that though, it's going to take time. It's going to take time to learn, well, to get used to the controls. And of course, with saying that, I did try with Slenderman the 8 Pages, and I do plan on playing other games, but there's also another issue involved. There's also another issue involved, and one referring to is looking at, what's the game called? Looking at Thief Simulator. Thief Simulator is a game that's been on my list for a while, and yes, I do plan on playing the console version. However, I am well aware that the ending of Thief Simulator on the console version, the PC version, there's a whole new area to explore beyond that point, and the price range is about £10. Okay, so the price range is about £10, and there's a whole new area to explore. You comfy up there? Okay. So what I was getting at was there's a whole new area to explore, and it's only for like what, £10. That seems reasonable. But when it comes to 7 Days to Die, I don't know how vastly different the PC version is compared to the console version. But the price difference is about, I think the cost of a copy on the PC works out to be about £30, give or take. So if I find out that the PC version, the only updates is, I don't know, this area has a glitch that you knew nothing about, it's no longer there now, or you used to have only a red scooter, now you can get a blue one. If we're talking it's only minor updates like that, put it simply, it's not really worth paying that extra bit of money just for these few little additions. However, if I am going to be switching to PC, it will still come eventually. But the point I'm getting at is, yes, I have full intentions of playing more 7 Days to Die. It will be on console, it will be edited differently, I will actually be making decent progress, but unfortunately that will take longer, which means you will be waiting a lot longer to see that content. The main thing is, I want to get Telltales out the way. Once I've got Telltales out the way, we're talking it's going to be a fucking cat ears. I've lost my fucking train of thought. Yeah, it's your fault that. The point I'm getting at is I want to focus. Seriously, fuck off, Hairs. Seriously, the point I'm getting at is focus on Telltales. Once that's out the way, there will be a period where I will be slowly learning to play PC games. There'll be certain games coming to the channel that are exclusive to the PC. I will be also playing more 7 Days to Die on the console, but it would be different from what you've already seen. I'll actually be building bases, I'll actually be making decent progress in it, and then eventually I'll be playing the PC version on yeah, the PC version of 7 Days to Die. So whereas this has been a fairly lengthy speech, hopefully it's just not me rambling too much, but I felt as if a lot of it needs to be said. So you jump up there and we're going to have a fucking problem. But yeah, might as well wrap up this video, so hopefully it's been informative and hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you have, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.
Like and subscribe.